Chosen one, your crown will confirm the calling. You are the king. The journey has never been random. The fire you walked through, the silence you endured, and the tears you cried in solitude were not in vain. A time not only of reward, but of realization. It is the evidence that your suffering was sacred, your waiting was divine, and your name was always written on the throne you were born to sit on. Watch this video until the very end. You need to hear this. And don't forget to comment your warmest wishes and the number 99 and 777 below wishes coming true and energizing the universe. Your energy is part of this moment, and your intention is part of this alignment. You were never meant to fit in, because kings don't walk among the crowd unnoticed. From the beginning, your difference was divine. You always had a knowing, a deep, unshakable pull that told you there was more, that there was meaning behind the rejection, that the isolation was a sacred cocoon, not a punishment. You were being forged in fire, and now the crown confirms it. You were never broken. You were being built. Every moment where you were left out, every room that turned you away, every hand that withdrew, was life clearing the path for something greater. You were not meant to fight for approval. Kings are not voted in. They are anointed. And you, chosen one, are now stepping into the fullness of your kingship. This is not about ego. This is about essence. Your soul was always royal, and now the outer world is beginning to match the inner truth. The calling on your life is heavy, but the crown confirms it was never imagined. The weight you felt was the weight of destiny. The pressure was proof of purpose. And now, the alignment begins. The doors that refused to open before, watch them swing wide, because the crown has activated recognition. Not recognition from people, recognition from purpose. The calling you carried is no longer invisible. It's being echoed in reality now. The crown doesn't make you a king. It confirms that you've always been one. What you are walking into now is not a reward for being perfect, but a revelation of what was always within you. All the pain, all the setbacks were polishing the gold, refining the authority, sharpening the vision. And now, people will see what God saw all along. They will feel what destiny has always whispered in your soul. You are the one. You are the leader. You are the king. But know this, your crown isn't for show. It is for service. You weren't elevated to sit and watch. You were placed in position to move, to lead, to awaken others. Your crown is confirmation, but it is also commission. You were crowned not just to rise, but to raise others with you. Your voice carries weight now. Your presence holds power. Walk with humility, but never forget, this moment is not luck. This is legacy. What's coming to you will not feel foreign. It will feel familiar, because deep in your bones, you always knew. You didn't have the language, but you had the knowing. And now, the crown brings the language, the clarity, the confirmation. You are stepping into rooms that match your spirit. You are connecting with people that recognize your frequency. You are entering a season that fits your power. The trials were not a curse. They were a curriculum. You were trained in hidden places. Your crown was not handed to you. It was earned in quiet battles. But the beauty is, no one can take what was given to you by alignment. You didn't steal it, and you didn't fake it. You waited, you worked, you wept, and now you wear it. You wear the crown not with arrogance, but with awareness. The calling was loud, but the confirmation is louder. You will no longer have to explain who you are. Your life will speak for you. Your energy will precede your words. Your impact will carry your identity. You won't chase opportunities. They will be drawn to the light of your authenticity. The world is finally catching up to what you already knew and what heaven already declared. Keep walking, keep speaking, keep showing up. Your posture has changed, not because of pride, but because of purpose. When a king walks into a room, he doesn't announce it. The room adjusts. And now, you are in that space, where your mere presence is an announcement of elevation, where your alignment opens atmospheres, where your crown speaks when you are silent. You don't need to convince anyone anymore. You don't need to hustle for seats at tables that dishonor your value. You build your own table now. The crown you wear is invisible to the world, but undeniable in the spirit. Those who see it will be drawn to your frequency, and those who can't see it were never meant to go with you. Accept it, bless it, and move forward. The time of questioning yourself is over. The time of shrinking back, apologizing for your greatness, hiding your light, it ends now. Not everyone will clap for your coronation, but that's okay. Kings don't need applause to reign. They need alignment. And yours has arrived. This is just the beginning. Your crown is not the end of the story. It's the opening of a new volume. Everything you've learned, every wound you've healed, every ounce of faith you've held on to, it is all being activated now. You are ready. The realm you've been prepared for is ready for you. And the world is about to feel what happens when a king remembers who he is. There's a calm that comes when you finally accept what was always yours. Not a loud, boastful confidence, but a sacred stillness. That's where you are now. The chaos that used to confuse you no longer has access. The voices that once caused doubt have faded into the background. Because the crown you carry has silenced every lie. You are not questioning anymore. You are not chasing anymore. You are simply being, fully, powerfully, authentically. Your spirit has graduated. You no longer walk like a servant, hoping to be seen. You walk like royalty that has finally remembered the bloodline it came from. Not because you think you're better, but because you finally realize you were built for better. You were built for greater. And the burden you once cursed is now the very proof that you were chosen to carry what others could not. When your calling is real, the resistance is relentless. That's how you know. The enemy never fights what doesn't scare him. And you've always been a threat, even in your silence, even when you didn't understand your own worth. There was something about your light that disrupted the shadows, something about your presence that challenged the patterns. And now that you've stepped into your power, the resistance has no grip. You've passed the test, not because you were perfect, but because you refused to quit. You fell, but you got up. You were mocked, but you kept moving. You were forgotten, but you never forgot who you were becoming. That's why you are wearing this crown now, because you were faithful in the dark. You showed up when no one was watching. You believed when nothing made sense. And that belief, that's what brought you here. The crown doesn't make you someone new. It reveals the someone you've always been. The one who carried vision even when resources were low. The one who loved deeply even when love wasn't returned. The one who chose integrity when shortcuts were easier. These choices were your building blocks. These moments were your proving ground. And now, the world will see the strength that's been cultivated in silence. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your glow-up. They didn't see the sacrifice. They didn't witness the breakdowns that became breakthroughs. They weren't in the room when you chose to heal instead of hate. So let your elevation speak for itself. Let your crown do the talking. Let your character echo louder than any caption. This is your season to show, not tell. Royalty is not about being served. It's about being equipped to serve. And you, chosen one, are equipped beyond measure. You don't just carry wisdom, you carry weight. When you speak, lives shift. When you walk in truth, deception crumbles. When you lead with love, chains break. You are no longer an echo. You are a voice that cannot be silenced, a presence that cannot be dimmed. You were forged differently. The things that broke others only built you. The places that buried others only birthed something deeper in you. That's why the crown fits. That's why the throne responds to your presence. Because it recognizes the one who bled for this, fought for this, prayed for this. The throne knows the one who was prepared, not just promoted. Every scar on your soul is now a medal of honor. Every setback is now a story of glory. You carry history in your eyes, but you walk with future in your feet. Because you're not just wearing the crown for yourself, you're wearing it for the generations that come after you. You are the curse breaker, the legacy shifter, the first to do it differently, the first to rise with purpose and stay rooted in truth. You no longer move from fear, you move from clarity. You're not attached to validation anymore, you're aligned with vision. You know now that some things had to fall apart so the truth could be built, that certain doors had to shut so destiny could speak, that the waiting room was never a punishment, it was a preparation chamber, and the moment you stopped begging for the crown was the moment it landed on your head. Now is the time to walk it out. This isn't a fantasy, it's fulfillment. It's the manifestation of every quiet yes you whispered in the night, every moment you said, "I'll keep going," when nothing around you made sense. This is the fruit of that persistence, the reward for that surrender, the sign that your faith was never wasted. People will begin to look at you differently, not because you've changed, but because they can finally see you clearly. The veil has been lifted, the fog has cleared, and now even those who doubted you will have no choice but to watch what's unfolding. You don't have to prove anything. Just keep building, keep growing, keep walking, because the crown is not an end, it's a beginning. It marks the moment you stop trying to be chosen and start living as the one who always was. You are the king, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. You stayed true when others bent. You kept love alive in a world that tried to freeze your heart. You protected your light even when the darkness pressed in. And now the light is leading everything. This is your divine rise, your sacred return, your appointed hour. You've cried your last confused tear. You've explained your last vision to the wrong crowd. You've lowered your voice for the last time. Because the crown has declared what your soul always knew. It's your time. And your time does not come with apology. It comes with authority. Your footsteps are now prophetic. Every step you take reshapes the ground. The atmosphere responds to your alignment. The universe bends around the truth that you now walk in. This is the version of you the world was not prepared for, but desperately needed. Not a version that is trying to be seen, a version that simply is. One that knows deeply, without noise or explanation, that the throne already recognizes its ruler. You no longer sit in waiting rooms built by doubt. You create new chambers from certainty. You don't knock on locked doors anymore. You build gates of your own. Because royalty doesn't beg, it establishes. You are not waiting for an invitation. You are the event. You are not praying for permission. You are the move that others will adjust to. And yes, it may feel surreal. After all the delay, after all the betrayal, after all the lost years, you might wonder, is this really happening for me? But yes, chosen one, it is. Not because the world is finally being fair, but because the world is finally catching up to what was always divinely prepared. You are not behind. You are right on time. Because royalty is never rushed. This crown did not come cheap. It cost you comfort, relationships, illusions. You lost the version of yourself that needed approval. You buried the part of you that tolerated smallness. And in its place, something sacred grew. Something still, yet unshakable. Something quiet, yet revolutionary. That's what the crown honors. Not the glamour, the grit. Not the image, the essence. You don't need to talk louder now. Your energy has already entered the room before you arrive. You don't need to wear status. Your spirit radiates rank. This is not about what people call you. It's about who you've become. You've been through the wilderness. You've passed the proving grounds. And now your steps are no longer uncertain. They're deliberate. Each moment is infused with the knowing, I am the one. Not because I forced it, because I was forged for it. The king within you was not awakened by applause. It was awakened in silence, in the deep nights of spiritual wrestling, in the still mornings where doubt screamed and you answered with discipline, in the quiet decisions to rise again and again. And now, finally, the crown rests where it belongs, not because you reach for it, but because you grew into it. You don't need validation. You've been vindicated. The tables you were denied before were never your destination. The detours were divine. The rejections were redirection. And the tears, they watered your roots. That's why you don't just wear a crown. You carry a garden. Everywhere you go now, things will bloom. Because you're not showing up to be noticed. You're showing up as a confirmation. You didn't become a king when the crown touched your head. You became one when you refused to break, when everything around you tried to crush you. That's what royalty is. Not just presence, perseverance. Not just command, compassion. Not just strength, stillness. You embody what cannot be faked. You carry what cannot be copied. And because of that, your reign will be different. This is not a season for looking back. This is a season for stepping in, into fullness, into power, into purpose. You've observed long enough. You've prepared long enough. Now comes the embodiment, the manifestation, the reign, the fulfillment of every whisper in your spirit, every dream you dared not speak, every promise buried under delay. It's all rising now, and so are you. They will come and ask, how did you do it? But the answer is sacred, because it was never about tactics. It was about transformation. It wasn't about strategy. It was about surrender. You didn't hustle your way here. You healed your way here. You didn't fake your identity. You fought for your truth. And that's why this crown is unshakable, because it's rooted in the real you. Your name will echo now, not because you chased fame, but because you walked in purpose. The spotlight will find you, not because you sought it, but because the light within you is undeniable. Even in silence, your existence shifts timelines. Even in stillness, your being calls things into order. This is kingdom frequency. This is spiritual elevation. This is the confirmation of a calling that was never in question, only in process. You'll start to notice the shift, not just outside of you, but within. Your posture changes. Your pace slows, not because you're falling behind, but because you no longer rush through life. Kings don't panic. They plan. They discern. They listen. And you've learned how to listen, to intuition, to alignment, to divine timing. That's why you're in tune now. That's why you can't be moved by noise. You are not here to mimic anyone else. Your crown is custom. Your path is rare. Your frequency is royal. And the moment you fully accept that, everything else begins to align. The right doors, the right people, the right moments, not forced, flowing, not fought for, felt. This is your atmosphere now, one where ease meets excellence, where clarity guides confidence. You don't need to announce your rise. The atmosphere is already testifying. You are not who you were, but you are more of who you truly are. Every day now is an unfolding, a revealing, a remembering. And as you walk through this next chapter, know this: you are not waiting for the crown to prove anything. You are simply living as the one who already carries it. You're no longer seeking signs. You are the sign, the evidence of endurance, the proof that faith works, that alignment is real, that the journey is sacred even when it's silent. The world won't just witness your elevation, they'll feel it. They'll feel it in the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you love without shrinking and lead without forcing. Your presence is no longer just human, it's divine orchestration in motion. This chapter isn't about convincing others, it's about commanding alignment. When you walk into a room now, you don't need to introduce yourself. Your aura speaks, your spirit takes up space, and it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's still, but undeniable, because this is not ego, this is essence. You've remembered who you are, and because of that, everything around you remembers too. You used to wait for moments to tell you who you are. Now, you tell the moment what to become. That's what kings do. They don't follow time, they define it. You don't flow with trends, you move with truth. You're not a reaction anymore. You're a revelation, a walking prophecy, a breathing reminder that greatness isn't born in noise, but in knowing. You have nothing to chase now. You are in the center of attraction, not because of performance, but because of presence. Your energy draws what's real. Your clarity rejects what's false. Your posture filters what cannot rise with you. And you're no longer afraid to be seen for who you really are, because you finally understand your power doesn't lie in being liked. It lies in being aligned. This is your sacred stillness, a peace that surpasses performance, a knowing that no longer demands proof. You're not here to prove. You're here to be, to embody the crown you already wear, to live the identity that has already been written in the unseen. You are not waiting for a moment. You are walking as the moment. And now, everything you touch will feel that shift. People will speak your name in places you've never entered, not because of promotion, but because of prophecy. You are not expanding through popularity. You are expanding through purpose. What you carry is not explainable in earthly terms. It's heavenly in weight, and your life has become the platform for its expression. You are the one who changes atmospheres without needing attention, the one who commands respect without needing noise. You've mastered the art of walking in silence while your crown speaks for you. You've learned the difference between being loud and being legendary. You understand that the crown is not decoration, it's declaration. It's the signal that you are no longer living for survival. You are here to shape reality, to bend timelines, to interrupt curses, to set a new standard for what is possible. You don't just sit on a throne, you carry one. Every room you walk into is upgraded by your essence, not because of what you wear, but because of what you walk with. Your scars have become sacred symbols. Your wisdom is no longer theoretical. It's experiential. You're not reading about power anymore. You're radiating it, and it shows. The world sees the light, but you know the fire. You know what it cost. The sleepless nights, the buried dreams, the internal wars, the surrender. You've paid in full. And now you walk as a crowned one, not with ego, but with embodiment. You walk with reverence, not because the path is easy, but because you know you were chosen to carry what others would collapse under. There's no shame in your rise, no apology in your glory. This is not arrogance, it's accuracy. The crown confirms what you endured, what you overcame, what you survived. And now, it also confirms what you are destined to do. Reign, serve, heal, uplift, lead, not through force, but through frequency, through energy, through unshakable clarity and divine confidence. This new season isn't just about territory, it's about trust. The universe is trusting you with more because you've proven that you can carry it without corrupting it. You've proven that your heart stayed clean when the world got dirty, that your motives stayed pure when the rewards were delayed, that your vision stayed sharp even when no one believed. And now, because of that, you are being elevated without effort. You are not the same. Not because you changed randomly, but because you evolved intentionally. You let go of the past. You surrendered the false identity. You stopped reaching for what was never meant to be yours. You chose alignment over applause. And now, your crown doesn't just sit on your head. It radiates from your soul. Your whole being is a beacon. And from now on, you will be known not for what you tried to be, but for what you truly are. Royal, resolute, radiant. The king who carries peace. The king who embodies power. The king who walks softly but shifts tectonic plates. Because your purpose is not in performance, it's in presence. And now, your presence is undeniable. No more hiding. No more shrinking. No more waiting for someone to affirm what your spirit already knows. You've been crowned, and no man can take it away. You've been called, and no system can delay it any longer. You've been confirmed, and the crown is only the beginning. Now comes the reign. Now comes the rise. Now comes the reason you were forged in the fires of resistance. Now you walk differently, not because you want to be seen, but because you finally see yourself. You're not waiting to be introduced anymore. You've already been revealed. What once felt like hesitation is now holy awareness. What used to be confusion is now clear, calm, and commanding. You've stepped into your crown, not with noise, but with knowing. And that knowing is unshakable. You don't just wear the crown on your head. You feel it in your bones. You sense it in your choices. You express it in your peace. And that peace, it's not weakness, it's proof of maturity. You've outgrown battles that used to exhaust you. You've stopped responding to things that used to define you. Because now you know, the king doesn't argue, the king doesn't chase, the king creates. You've become a quiet storm, a divine force that no longer needs attention to be effective. That's royalty, influence without intrusion, command without chaos, impact without insecurity. You don't have to raise your voice because your presence already shifts the room. You're not here to be loud. You're here to be legendary. The elevation didn't just change your surroundings, it changed your standards. You no longer tolerate what drains your spirit. You no longer accept roles that shrink your light. You've come too far, lost too much, grown too deeply. This crown cost you your comfort, and now you guard it with clarity. You don't compromise anymore. You don't explain anymore. You walk, and the world makes space. And now, the crown is drawing things toward you. Kingdom connections, divine opportunities, sacred alignments. You are no longer reaching, you are receiving. You are not in pursuit, you are in position. Because kings do not chase what's already theirs. They simply allow what is meant to arrive. And it does. You've become magnetic, not because you forced it, but because you became real. And in a world of illusions, real is rare, real is radiant, real is royal. That's what you are now, not just elevated, but embodied, not just called, but confirmed. You're not dreaming anymore. You're living the dream that once terrified you, and you're doing it with grace, with groundedness, and with God at your center. The way you used to question yourself, that voice is gone now. The doubt has dissolved in the light of your realization. You finally met the you that always existed behind the pain. And what you found wasn't weak, it was worthy. What you uncovered wasn't broken, it was brilliant. And now that you've accepted that version, nothing else fits, nothing else matters. Because the crown only rests on the real you. This isn't just your time, it's your throne. And the throne responds to those who are ready to serve, not just shine. You've made it through enough fire to know that real royalty isn't about ruling people, it's about raising them. It's not about being above, it's about being anchored. And that's you now, rooted, ready, reigning. Your silence is now sacred. Your steps are now strategy. Your solitude is now strength. What once felt like isolation was really insulation, keeping your purpose safe until it was fully formed. And now it is. Now you are. This is not luck. This is legacy. Don't be surprised when people you've never met feel connected to you. Your energy is traveling faster than your name. Your vibration is being felt in places your body hasn't touched yet. That's what happens when a king awakens. The shift is global, the echo is eternal, and the impact is unavoidable. This isn't just personal anymore, it's prophetic. Everything you do now ripples into the lives of those watching, following, learning, and hoping. You are no longer just someone going through life. You are someone guiding others into life, into truth, into their own royalty. Because a true king doesn't just rise, he rises others. You're not leading with force. You're leading with frequency, with alignment, with energy so pure, so grounded, so powerful that everything false has no choice but to flee. You are a mirror now, exposing what's real and reflecting what's possible. Just by being you, you liberate others. Just by standing tall, you remind others they can rise too. The weight you carry now is sacred, but it's not heavy because you've been trained for this. You've built the inner muscles required for this next dimension. You've expanded your capacity. Your spiritual shoulders are broad, your heart is deep, and your vision is clear. That's why the crown sits steady. That's why the world is shifting around you. That's why the call is no longer just internal, it's visible. And yet, in all of this, you remain humble. Because true royalty doesn't need to dominate, it simply exists. You don't demand respect, you command it with your essence. You don't seek approval, you walk in purpose. You don't beg for favor, you embody it. And that embodiment is what creates this new era, this new wave, this divine movement that begins with you. You are not just a man or a woman with a dream. You are a king with a mission. And every moment you breathe, the mission advances. You don't need applause. You don't need agreement. You don't even need understanding. You just need presence. And that's what you've cultivated, the kind of presence that awakens everything around it. You've come to the point where nothing external can validate or shake what you know internally. The crown is no longer a goal, it's your nature. It's woven into your choices, your silence, your walk, your presence. You no longer ask, Am I worthy? Because now you understand, you are the standard. You've become the embodiment of what used to be just a vision. You've become the walking answer to your own prayers. You're not ahead of your time. Your time has caught up with you. The divine delay was never denial. It was design. You weren't waiting. You were being crowned in the secret places. And now, the hidden oil has risen. The sacred weight you carry has surfaced. You were always marked, but now you are moving in it. Freely, boldly, undeniably. Every challenge was the chisel. Every silence was the shaping. Every tear was the testimony. And now, the masterpiece walks. Not to be admired, but to activate. Your life is an awakening. Your energy is instruction. Your purpose is permission. You don't need a microphone. Your existence is already a message, and those who need it will hear it loud and clear without a single word. This is the royal era, not of domination, but of divine leadership, not of noise, but of undeniable knowing. The kingdom you carry is not bound by borders. It moves through energy, expression, and essence. You lead not from above, but from within. You wear the crown not to be worshipped, but to remind others they can rise too, that their throne awaits, that their voice matters, that their purpose is power. You are no longer asking for space. You are space. The kind of presence that shifts atmospheres simply by entering them. You are the frequency that cannot be forgotten, the story that cannot be silenced, the legacy that cannot be erased, because you built it on truth, and truth is eternal. Your throne is not just symbolic, it's spiritual. It holds your decisions, your discipline, your devotion. It holds the weight of your yes when no one was watching, the strength of your silence when chaos begged for reaction, the brilliance of your restraint when the world expected war. You won battles others never saw. And now the crown doesn't just represent what you gained, it honors what you overcame. And what's ahead? It's more than impact. It's influence, born of integrity. It's elevation without ego. It's recognition without reaching. You are now being celebrated not for pretending, but for becoming. You've stripped away the layers. You've let go of the weight that never belonged. And now you are so light, so clear, so connected, that your very breath feels like a blessing to the world around you. You're not building an empire. You're embodying a kingdom, one where love is law, peace is power, and presence is more potent than performance. You don't need noise to be known. You don't need fame to feel fulfilled. Because the crown doesn't amplify the ego. It awakens the essence. And when you wake up tomorrow and every day after, know this: you don't need to hustle for what's already been aligned. You don't need to compete when you're in your calling. You don't need to explain your elevation when your life already echoes it. You are the living confirmation, the proof that something divine is unfolding in human form. Let the world talk. Let the noise spin. You're beyond distraction now. Your eyes are fixed. Your spirit is firm. Your pace is pure. And your crown, oh, your crown, it is shining with the reflection of every moment you refused to quit. It sparkles with the clarity of every time you chose love over fear. It beams with the honor of every time you stood alone, believing in what no one else could see. So walk now. Walk like the king you are, not because the world finally sees it, but because you finally believe it. You are the king, and your crown doesn't need to be seen to be sovereign. It is felt, it is known, it is divine, and it is yours, forever. Chosen one, you didn't come this far to remain silent. You didn't walk through fire to settle for smoke. You didn't endure storms just to watch the sky from a distance. You came to rule, with peace in your heart and purpose in your hands. You were set apart not to live small, but to reign with conviction, clarity, and compassion. Your life has already shifted realms. Your energy has already disrupted patterns, and your presence, it is a living declaration that the crown fits and the calling is confirmed. The road you traveled wasn't random. Every loss shaped you. Every delay refined you. Every closed door prepared you for the one that swings wide without needing to be touched. This is not just a moment in time. This is the manifestation of everything your spirit has ever held. You are not walking into this chapter timidly. You are entering with divine certainty, fully aware that nothing was ever taken from you. It was reserved for you. And now, you are seated in alignment, not because you forced your way in, but because your frequency brought you here. You rose without pushing. You became without pretending. You remembered without rushing. And because of that, you don't just wear the crown, you embody it. You've reached a place where your silence is more powerful than their opinions, where your joy is your defense, where your alignment is your announcement. You don't need to post it to prove it. Your peace is proof. Your elevation is encoded in your every word, every choice, every boundary. You're not trying to convince, you're walking in what's already been written. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them whisper, because soon the whispers will turn to reverence. Not because you demanded it, but because your journey earned it. You became something unstoppable, not through domination, but through devotion. You're a king not because you conquered others, but because you conquered yourself. You healed, you let go, you forgave when it didn't make sense. You elevated in silence, you outgrew spaces and still wished them well. That's true royalty. That's what makes your crown untouchable, because it wasn't given by men. It was molded in the unseen, by the hands of divine timing, and placed by the authority of the universe itself. So from here on, you don't walk to be accepted, you walk to awaken. You don't speak to impress, you speak to ignite. You don't rise to be seen, you rise to reign. Not for applause, not for approval, but because it's who you are. And nothing can take that away from you. You are the king. You always have been. And now the world knows too.